Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first event of the year. It's actually our first public presentation on what we're doing in the hub. So we've had a lot of conversation with different stakeholders and whatnot, but this is the start of a number of communications about what we're doing with the Food Innovation Hub. My name's Frank Salmon, in case you didn't know who I was. I'm going to ask Ian Hemphill to welcome himself, but also to do acknowledgement of the country.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Ian Hemphill. I happen to be Chair of Central Coast Industry Connect, and I would like to acknowledge that today we are meeting on Darkinjung land, and we pay our respects to Elders past and present. We appreciate what First Nations people have been able to achieve in maintaining this country, and we look forward to learning as much as we can from them, and we also look forward to working together for the benefit of all Australians. So welcome, and thanks, Frank. I think you will find this a very interesting session. Thank you all.
Great, thanks, Ian. And for people who don't know, this area is actually like an education area for the Darkinjung people. So it's quite apt that that we have this facility here on this land, so which is really great. So look, as always, we need to recognise the people that support us, and most of these people have been with us for quite a long time. So I want to acknowledge our sponsors. Obviously, Newcastle University, work closely with Ian Redkind. Thanks, Scott. Central Coast Council, Sam Surf from Central Coast Council, and Sam, Business New South Wales. So an apology from Scott Gould, he's got COVID, so unfortunately he's not coming. For Jenny, Trish and John, thank you. RDA, who provide us the office space here. Edge Legal, our legal support, and Milestone Nova, who help us to do our marketing. So look, I'm really going to take you back to the start, because I think you need to get the context of how all this has come about, and then we'll just probably get into the nuts and bolts of what we're doing. So it's the building, site plan, the construction timeline, some of the equipment that we're going to get in, and then how we're activating the project. Because when I had my my meeting with Ed Huzik to try to secure these funds, he wanted to give us money for infrastructure, but no money to activate it. And I said, well, you can keep your money. No point me having a building, because I can't do anything with it. They don't have people. So we're fortunate to be able to get that support, and you'll meet some of those people shortly. All right. So background to the project. You may or may not know that we got $17.14 million as originally an election commitment from the Labor government in 2022, and of course they got into power, and that money, October that year actually, was put into the budget, into the interim budget, so which is a great thing. So the three, I suppose, key elements to this project. Again, having a facility is one thing, but what you do in the facility is more important, because it's great we've got all this money, but the money goes very quickly, and we know from our own experience with government funding, a lot of money just gets paid to consultants and in this case construction and equipment, but we need to be able to build a sustainable model longer term. So how do we keep the operation running beyond the funding? So the funding stops March 26. So beyond that, we have to be self-sufficient. So again, the reason for the operational stuff and it's enacting it now is to make sure that we are self-sufficient by the time that end of the funds come through. So we're building a 2,000 square metre factory, which is about all we can afford. But as it turned out, the land that I'll talk about shortly, that's about the only site we could put on there. We've got provision for pilot facilities, so we did a lot of work looking at what New South Wales is strong at from a food manufacturing point of view, and this is predominantly food manufacturing I'm talking about. So we've sort of geared up some of our equipment around that. And the other important thing, which is what I suppose was the hook for government, is we're establishing a skills hub at this facility. In fact, we're establishing an interim skills hub, which we've done now. And so, this whole element of being self-sufficient, being able to support what we're doing within the infrastructure comes down to training and development of people. And so that's key. So, and we'll have a look at what we're doing across the way there shortly. So the land, and we for the board members that are here, we had quite a lot of issues because we weren't actually at the site we're at now. We were back at the site at Lisero, and we put our submission in. We had to still apply for the funds, even though the funds were allocated to us. Put the application out, and then next thing you know, the site wasn't going ahead. So that put a spin on the project, and government don't like change. And so we had to work through the process of finding a site and then resubmitting an application for that site. So we had to turn around in 6 weeks to do that. Unfortunately, talking to council, they came on board and they provided us some land at Brownie Street. I'll show you that on the map shortly, which was then ratified by the administrator on the 23rd of June. So that blocks that land away for 30 years. And for us, there's no cost for the first 2 years, so which is the first 20 years actually. So, so look, there's a whole lot of issues with the site. It's if you know the area, Brimber, just the back there, we've got a creek down one boundary, which is nightmare. But there's a lot of vegetation issues and stuff. But look, we've worked through that, and we got a DA through. Good Christmas present, actually, the week before Christmas. So it was after 9 months. It was great to have it done. Council couldn't assess it, so they go to a regional planning panel, and they were pretty thorough actually. They got to the point of looking at what the site was being used before, and I'll talk about that shortly. But there was an old sawmill there, and they were worried about contamination from the sawmill. So there is some historic significance to the site. The site was one of the major sawmills in the area, back in the 1900s. It ceased operation in 1970. So I'm mentioning that because we're going to try to take some of that heritage and build it into the facility. How that looks, I'm not sure, but we're working with the local Brimber Residents Association. That a lot of members there have got relatives that date back to the time when the sawmill was running. So we're going to consult with them to do something to recognise the site. So that's what it was back then. It was all cleared and whatnot. It was a sawmill. Obviously, the Brimber State Forest was the feed source, and there was a number of sawmills in here actually. I didn't realise how many there were, but this one in particular was quite a large one. This is a circa 2017, so you can see that's where the mill was. There was a house here. When we took over the land, these premises were there. In 2018, Wyong Council did a heritage study on the property, and it was not deemed to be heritage listed, so then they demolished it. So they demolished the mill, but the house and the sheds are still there, which we demolished last year as part of our process. So, look, the site location is always important. Lisero is a great site. This is a great site as well, right? There's a lot of benefits being located where we are. Obviously, right across the road from the train station, which is a big benefit. Bus stop right in front of the property. Easy access to the Pacific Highway, and you'll see that in a sec. The M1, obviously, very close to the campus there. So that's important because just over there is our food science area. And it's one of the very few universities that does, product development style, not nutrition. I was actually at a meeting with TAFE during the week, and a lot of the unis have got nutrition courses. They're failing to get students. What is more important is food science and product development. And every student here gets a job before they leave, right? And in fact, it's a problem for the university because no one's staying on to do PhD. Because, and they're getting paid 120 grand a year, some of these people, right? Straight out, So it's an important piece for us because it's, when we have a facility like what we're doing, we need to have that close tie with university. Okay. And and we've established that. Close to ports, airports, central to Gosford, Wyong, and also central to our regional food processors, so I'll show that in a sec. In particular Sydney and Hunter. So we need to expand our boundaries with this facility because, we pretty well work with all the food businesses in the region, but we need to expand particularly into Western Sydney and also up north. So we've got some good relationships with other clusters up north. And we will start building on that to ensure that we have our member base, but also that we get people using our facilities. Because again, it's all about maximising and utilising the assets that we've got. Today CCIC's got nothing apart from a couple of bots, but in the next year we'll have facilities, assets that we need to utilise. So this is the site. So there's where the site is. So train station's just there, just over the outside here. You can see the rather rich to the Pacific Highway. You get that sort of sense of the property, and there's the university. So you can see the proximity very close, playing fields, which most of you would have driven past to get here today. Like I said, there's that's all being demolished now. Next to us is a council depot. In fact, there's two properties there, 2 and number 4. And we're straddling across number 4, so we had to do some realignment. The council will keep their depot there, and we get the rest of the land there. So you've got the Bangalow Creek, which is one of the challenges we had from a DA point of view. When you have a creek, you have what they call a riparian zone, and you can't build on the riparian zone. The riparian zone is 40 metres off the top of the bank of the creek, and guess what? 40 metres pretty well knocks out most of what we wanted to do. But we had great success, working with council, but also with the border authorities. We're able to build into that riparian zone, but what we're doing, we're offsetting it because we've made a 7-year commitment to maintain that whole creek area. If you go along there now, it's a shambles. There's bloody drums and crap in the water in the creek. When we, the deal was that when we take it over, it's going to be 100% better, right? And so that's how we got the offset. The offset is, we're going to sort of maintain this area here and leave these areas around there. So So the total lot size, 18,000 square metres. We're building 2,000 square metres, which is the maximum we can build on that block because of all the constraints, which works out well from a budget point of view. I mentioned the location of, it's not the clearest photo of where all the food businesses are, but you can see we've got scatterings of businesses everywhere. We're going to be located here. So again, it's a pretty good location, and particularly access to the, the bigger operators as well. Mars Cemetery, in those areas. So, so again, the location works well. So the facility itself is really set up for providing spaces for scale-up businesses. So we're not looking at startups. Startups, we can't afford to have startups unless they come with a big bucket of money. Because startups, a lot of startups don't fail. And as much as we'd like to do that, we might support a startup at some point. But in this early stage, we have to have businesses that need to expand. So I'll give you an example. We've been doing this already. This is not new for us, right? We've got a business came up from Sydney, Compassion Creamery, and Sarah, and she got engaged with us. I can't remember exactly how we got engaged. But anyway, we started talking, and then I connected her with another Central Coast company, a Loggy, and he was looking at a site. So, and then I said, well, you're interested in having someone else come into that site, right? And so both the businesses are operating the garage, right? Now they're operating in the factory. That's the sort of thing, and they've been going for 3 or 4 years. So we're going to have pretty tight sort of boundaries in terms of what people we accept. They've got to have at least 3-year history of production in existence. Strong financial work. They've got to pay the rent. This is not free. Right? They've got to pay the rent, and then we want to see what their growth plans are for the next 5 years. Because our view is if we look at those plans, we should be able to bring it down to 3 years with the help that we can provide. And I'm modelling this on, there's a place called Manu Futures in Deakin University, which is not food, it's composite materials, but they've got the same model and it works really well. In fact, they've expanded, they had 11 spaces, now they've gone to 22 because there's such a demand. But taking those businesses and accelerating their growth is what we're on about, and then also helping them find the next facility, hopefully on the coast, and getting them to expand and doing it properly. And look, the thing that we find with these smaller businesses, and Sarah with a classic, is they go into these things, they don't capture everything they need to think about. So, equipment, they just get the Joe Blow to put this thing in there and find, oh, well, no, you need to get that registered, and all the sort of basic stuff that us as people working in manufacturing would understand. They don't. They're entrepreneurs. They're not managers. They're not operations people. So part of our role in this hub and what CCIC is doing now is to be able to provide that advice. In fact, Mike, our engineering manager, is going to do a webinar next March on a national basis about how you would be going forward to set up the factory. What do you need to look at? What boxes you need to tick to make it all happen. So that's that gives you a sense of the type of people we're looking for. We've got about 8 spaces that we need to fill. They're roughly around 150, 200 square metres. There's some variation in the sites, but when they come into the facility, it's already set up for them. For some, they go and set up like even like in these guys, they went to the facility. It's a food facility. If you weren't doing that, you'd be paying $200,000-300,000 just to get set up. Right? So that's a benefit that we can offer, which they're not really going to be paying too much for, right? Because we're going to amortise that over the depreciation period we've got, which is 40 years, so it's going to be pretty much sweet, right? So that's a big hook for us. Coming to the facility, it's got all the services that you need. It's got all the support mechanisms, the shared services, as you can read there, and that they have access to our staff, right? So that, again, that's the opportunity we have to be able to grow their businesses and accelerate their growth. But the facility's also got pilot facilities, and that's available to any manufacturer. And when I talk manufacturing, it's food predominantly, but we're also will be doing non-food as well, because a lot of the stuff we're covering crosses over into that. So in time, it'll just be a manufacturing hub, and with a food focus, food innovation focus. So this is the facility. So talked about the creek here, and then the riparian zone, which is within, that's only 20 metres, so you can see 40 metres will take you out here, which means we'd have all sorts of problems trying to build something. So, but we've got all that sorted. So the scale-up spaces, you can see various sizes to accommodate different people. On this end is our pilot facility area, so it's about just under 600 square metres. Got a little loading dock, and then here is like the mezzanine, the office area, and downstairs all this, canteen, toilets and stuff like that. So that's Brownlee Street. So over here we've got the railway station. So we're going to be basically rejuvenating this whole area It's just covered in blackberries, lantana, just garbage really. And we're going to clean it all up and make it a showpiece. And the way we want to do that is actually engage with the community. So the community, we were concerned about the community being, opposed to what we're doing. We had, I think, one or two opposition submissions, but the River Association in general were pretty supportive. So I'm going to be leaning on them to help us, regenerate this area, and make it a showcase of how industry and community can work together. Yeah. So and we'll work with university, and we'll work with other interested parties and groups to make that happen. So there's just some photos. I just want to turn the lights off for a sec, or just so we get a bit. So look, these are just renders. We've had. Bear in mind that when we got $17.14 million back in 2022, 23. It's now 2025, and we still have to do everything in the same budget. Right? There's no movement with funds. The only movement we've got was an extension of 12 months because we had to change locations. So, the team that we're working with Mike have been looking at how we re-engineer the building to, get the cost, get project and budget. So we'll know how good they are. I think at the end of this month or early next month, we get all our tenders in. So we're not actually going to a builder. We're actually working for a construction manager. We're paying all the bills, so it gives us a lot of leverage in terms of getting good prices and also timing. So, So this is the back. It looks pretty pretty. I'm not sure if it's going to look that good, but anyway. But that's so this is the west face. This is the east face. This is another view from the east. This is where the sort of loading areas are. This is where our pilot facilities are. Again, just another view. Again, this is from the south. So, so that's what it looks like. Looks great. Like everything. We'll see what it turns out like at the end. We see what money we've got left. So the timeline, it's pretty tight, but everyone's confident. So the sort of next big milestone at the moment for us is a construction certificate, which is we've got to get the 20th of March. We can actually start putting a shovel in the ground, and then after that it's pretty well full bore with a view to have it all done before Christmas. So the site itself, I'd say, presents a couple of problems. So you'll see here a water main diversion. We've actually got a water main running through the property, so we're going to have to relocate that. There's no sewer on the site, so we're going to have to take the sewer from the Brownlee Street back up to Chittaway Road to the clubhouse. So they're all additional costs that we wouldn't have had in a normal project. But we've saved money on the land, so we can't be confusing. So look, Unit 1 is where our pilot facility is, so we're going to be pushing hard to get that done as soon as possible because we've got equipment, we've got some equipment now which is mainly packaging. We've started ordering some processing equipment, but we can't put it anywhere. So we need to get this unit complete so we can actually start fitting out the pilot facility area itself and get that ready for operation when the hub opens up. So the equipment, and you'll see some of it today. Like I said, we've geared it around some of the strengths of the New South Wales and also the region. Try to cover some packaging equipment and also some different technologies like X-ray technology for looking to fire matter. We've got a saw bait house, extruder, kettle processors. 3D printers, so we've got one out there already. Printing food, there'll be there's another one we'll be getting. So we've constrained that to 2 million at the moment, 2.3 million. The budget was just over 3 million, but I'm holding off on that until we know what the cost of the construction is going to be. We just don't have any money anywhere else, right? So we're just going to have to see how we pan out, but that's where we are on that. So yeah, it's exciting. So then the stuff, flow rate is actually arriving next week. Hopefully, canines in, X-rays in. So yeah. So that's the area we've got. It's a very small area, so you're going to see it. We'll have a walk through. But it just gets us started. The government was pretty keen on, because we've got this operational, we're operational funds, so our staff are being funded by government at the moment. They were really keen to ensure that we had started to try to develop our training programs and stuff to make all that happen. So having that small space allows us to do some of the training, which we'll talk about shortly. So that's really the infrastructure side of things and the equipment side of things. So the stuff that we're focused on right now, I mean, also focused on construction, but the stuff that we can deliver right now to business is around our training. And some of these programs we've already run, and some of the people in this room have been involved in these programs already. So Innovation for Growth, we've run 2 sessions with that, which Alex has been running. And that's been focused on the food industry, so looking at innovation and that sort of go-to-market aspect of innovation. We're going to be translating that into what's it mean for manufacturing in general, so not just food. So and hopefully we'll be running one of those sessions this year. The Manufacturing Leaders Program, we did a pilot last year, which was exceptionally well received, very, very successful. And we're going to be starting another one in April. The Operate program, I'm going to get Nathan to talk about that in a sec. We've got quality programs which support the Operate program, but also, again, food safety in particular, but just general quality in terms of specifications, standard operating procedures. We're really going to be focusing on that. Problem solving, continuous improvement is another element, and well-being. So we did a lot of work the last couple of years around the sort of mental health space for people in manufacturing, and we want to continue that as a support mechanism to the group. So we can provide this stuff right now. So because I've got the team, I'll introduce the team in a sec, but we've got these capabilities right now within the organisation. So we're encouraging people to engage in this, obviously fee for service. If you remember, there's a discount, but these are the things that we're actually doing right now, right, for people, and we want to continue to drive it. The other thing we've got is just right over here is a sensory lab for the food industry, and we've done a deal with the university to operate that. So we will have the capability of doing sensory research, quantitative research on products, food products predominantly. So again, that's another service that we can offer. Our training is getting geared, so we've got sort of we call it maturity level, but we're sort of starting off in this area here. But we'll go back to student levels. We do a lot of work with students now, but we're actually going to convert that work from creating awareness in manufacturing to actually starting to give them some skills to give them a real taste of what might be the opportunity for them in manufacturing in general and in food in particular. And then on the other end of the scale, we're working with Robin and Anne from Workforce Australia about how do we support the community with our facilities. So long-term unemployed, that sort of stuff. So that's another important piece. So we really want to integrate the community in what we're doing. So you heard about it with maintaining the vegetation area around the hub. It's also about what we do with training and facilities. So and I'll mention that we're doing some work with Barragarang as well with their students in this program. So it's a real holistic program that engages every aspect of the community. For our team, team's grown a lot since I started back in 2011. But look, I think most of you know Amy and Alex, and Alex has been with me for over 3 years, and Amy for a couple of years now. But the hub team really of this team here. So Kate, right, Kate, over the back there, helped us with R&D. Nathan, who you may have met already, is doing training and development. He's also an engineer, so he's a little crossover. Mike's our engineering manager, 30 plus years experience in food manufacturing. And then we've got Bill, who's been a long-term player in the food industry around R&D and marketing. So we've got a pretty solid team. So you know, it's about providing those services. And we've got this team now, as I mentioned very early in the piece. You know, it's about trying to activate and get the operational side of the whole project happening now. We can't wait for the building to be built, because when the building gets built, the money stops from the government. So that's why we're doing it now. So the activation of some of the skills hub is really important for us in the training facilities. So we haven't announced this yet, but you're getting the first view of this. All this activity that we're doing, in terms of our services, so we're really swung away from just being a networking sort of connection organisation to becoming a service provider, because you don't make money from being a networker. Right? You go to, I was involved with the business chamber for a long time. Membership, you lose money on membership, right? It's the services. So, and I look at our other clusters around the country and up north, it's all about services. So we are going to be probably more focused in the training side, but non-accredited training, because there's a gap for that. But we work with Tate, we work with university, we work with schools. So we've got a nice sweet spot where we can really deliver some opportunity. So the service area will become what we call the Manufacturing Advancement Centre. So it's about supporting manufacturing, irrespective of what you make it do. Through the activities and the knowledge and the equipment that we've got, and obviously the people. So we talked about unlocking opportunities in people, products, technology, and markets, and we're going to do that. It's not an advanced manufacturing centre. That to me doesn't resonate, right? It's about advancing manufacturers wherever you start from. That could be, making stuff by hand down here will help you get to the next step, or you could be right at the other end where you want to take the next level of digitisation in your business. So that's the difference. The advanced manufacturing sector is robotics and all this sort of stuff. It's all great, but not every business is in that space. So we've got to take them to the right steps, and get them advancing the right way so they can get to the top of the game in what they do. So we need your support, like all this stuff. So like I said, at the end of the day, this is great, it's a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's just going to be a white elephant if people don't use it. So, we can't afford that. The board's not going to let that happen clearly, but we'll be focused very much on the Central Coast, but we will be expanding our boundaries because we have to, right? And we have a lot of capacity to deliver a lot of stuff. There's going to be a need for us to be able to use that capacity and generate funds from it. So, range of different things. So we come across people that might fit the perspective of who we want in that hub. Then let us know. Engage in our programs. In particular, like there's going to be a lot of stuff happening this year. Financial support, sponsorships, donations. So we are looking at a sponsorship arrangement for the hub itself. Like a bit of a patron sponsor, like you have your name plastered across the facility and that sort of stuff. So we're looking at that type of stuff. In-kind support, providing materials for us to deliver training. So that's important. So I'll call out Adam here, who gave us a few kegs of beer yesterday to help commission our canning line. So it's that sort of stuff makes it easy for us, for forking out those funds. And just in that, so the long-term play is when we do our training in our pilot facilities, we'll actually make product, package it. But what we're going to do with it is we want businesses to support us in terms of the materials to make the product. we'll convert it, pack it, and then we're going to give it to something like Food Bank. So again, that community connection. So it doesn't go to waste. It means that we are able to train people real time making product, but that product then is food safe, food grade that goes to support the community. So it's great, and so for businesses to be part of that feed end is really a good story, you know, and particularly the big businesses that are doing it now. So we're really keen on doing that. So in-kind services, obviously, and that one is, you know, some of our people will be training, won't come from industry, but they'll come out with, you know, an accreditation or certificate saying they've been able to do this type of work. So we're looking for opportunities to be able to place those people into roles. So I think that's it. I'm going to ask Nathan just to turn the lights on. Ask Nathan just talk about the operator program, because that's the first one we're kicking off, and then what we're going to do is just go around and have a look at some of the facilities there. So, yeah. Thanks.
Right, morning everybody. Nice to see you all. I've had the joy of meeting quite a lot of you, a lot of familiar faces over the last year since I arrived from the UK and joined this team. Just a little bit of background. I was looking for work in Australia, and my background is in engineering, in food production machinery, and I was Googling, came across these headlines about a food innovation hub, and it was just like, I must be the luckiest person. Got in touch with a guy I'd never heard of, Frank Sammut, which is very strange because everyone here has heard of him. But just, you know, cold email, I think, out of the blue, and I feel very lucky to have landed on my feet with a great team here and this opportunity, which is just incredible. So over the past year, we've been working with local industry, and I've been getting to know lots of the local industry and getting lots of support and guidance and feedback on what kind of skills shortages there are, what kind of challenges there are. And it was all with the focus really on this first flagship program, which is our machine operator program. Any of our upcoming training courses in this kind of space will be specific. They will be targeted at what this region needs, what the Central Coast and that expanded area needs, but also will be targeted at specific job roles that we've identified are actually necessary and needed. So there's going to be a very clear pipeline. It's very specific, very intentional. And so this program, the machine operator program, has been developed around that. So the core of it is, let's get our operators to be able to perform and optimize the performance of the line they're working in, but also to understand the importance of and the impact of what they contribute to the manufacturer, and the two big pillars that will go with that. So it's not just let's run a machine, it's where does quality, where does safety fit into that? So those two big cornerstones really of manufacturing. But also let's be productive, let's make some money as well, which is also important. So the sort of topics we'll be covering, and you'll be able to see in a moment some of the equipment, and we'll be doing a lot of hands-on work. We will be able to go through line startup, go through all those sort of safety checks, go through the quality checks that you would do, and get a machine running, get your product going, optimized, making sure that you're maximizing your outputs and all that sort of thing, then monitoring. And then we want to be touching on the sorts of things that maybe you wouldn't expect your operator to be always across, but we want this holistic approach. So touching on lean, which I think we've had discussions, and I had the benefit of being part of our Future Manufacturing Leaders program. And there it was a brilliant testing ground, because I had 8 of these sort of up and coming leaders within manufacturing businesses telling me what problems they were having with their staff, what was working well, and all of that. I should point out Kayla from Real Pet Food, one of our alumni, is in the room today, and we've got a lot of great stuff, and we'll be working closely with Real Pet Food in our first program. So we will be touching on those kind of things, lean, making sure that operators at that level can really make an impact, and through things like the continuous improvement process, feed back into the overall productivity of manufacturer. So we're going to have a variety of interactive type of sessions, things like having a group of people going through a standard operating procedure. What's a good operating procedure? What's a bad one? And to iterate them and make sure that what goes wrong if you don't follow them and that sort of thing. So I think I'll leave it there because I might talk a little bit more once we're over there, once we can see the equipment, and you'll be able to see a little bit more about what we're doing and sort of future technologies as well. So I think that's all.
Thanks, Nick. And so that program first one starts next month. It's actually funded by government too, so it's free. It's a 5-day program, the North Road program, and then we're going to be kicking off some others as well. So we'll be promoting that as of today, and now we've got some stuff in place. So just to close off, so anyone got any questions? I forgot to ask because a lot of information, obviously. Any questions?
How dependent is this on change of government?
No dependence. I mean, the funding's locked away, so it's not. Look, the change when we were first started approaching the local MPs around this. Lucy Wicks was in Robertson. She was very supportive. She's still supportive. She's obviously going to run again. But no, look, it's independent of government now. It's like once we put a shovel in the ground, in particular, then that's it. It's like it's committed. But yeah,